One of the most important feature of our applications generated through Affloat are that you can declaratively assign your business logic, or we can say the business logic is not incorporated into the code, but you yourself can declare the business logic by providing various constraints. Like as you can see here, the available constraints are save UI. The save UI constraints work as soon as the save button is pressed, or you try to save the records in your current form. The save DB works as soon as data is saved in the database. The delete constraint works as soon as you try to delete a record from a form. The get all constraints work as soon as records are being fetched from the database. The mandatory constraint makes a field mandatory, so you'll have to input values for that mandatory field before saving that record. Default value constraint automatically provides you with certain default values in certain fields. This evaluate constraint, it will automatically calculate certain values for certain fields in certain conditions. You will have to define the conditions as well as the evaluation expression. The disable when constraints will disable certain fields in certain forms as specified by you according to certain specific conditions decided by you. The decimal scale will let you to define the decimal points or the decimal scale for the decimal fields in the forms. So this is how you can define the save DB, or you can use this combo to define constraints. So we will start with the save DB constraint. As we can see, here we have given the table name on which the constraint will work. We have given the name for the constraint. We can specify ordinal position, i.e. that is the position at which the constraint must be evaluated, the condition for the constraint, and failure reason, which will be shown as a message when the constraint fails. Now we shall see the save UI constraint, and here we go. The table name in the similar fashion, the constraint name, the ordinal position for the constraint, the condition to be evaluated, and the failure reason. Now we shall move on to delete constraint. So here is the mandatory constraint. It will make the field from value in the table ABC indicator as mandatory. Now the default value constraint, we will see it. Now in admin item group table, the field name ledger ID will always have default value as -1. This is how default value constraint works. The evaluate constraint, like in table admin item, for the field economic order quantity, if the condition is evaluated as true, the particular value will be calculated for the column economic order quantity and it will be applied. Now the disable when constraint, like in acquisition code table, and for column names, columns creation date stamp and last modification date stamp, as you can see, disable when is selected as always, so these two fields will be always disabled. User cannot input values into it. And in general form, we will specify the condition at where these columns should be disabled. Now the decimal scale constraint in the table admin item, for the field opening balance quantity, the decimal scale has been marked to 3. This is how we can specify a decimal scale for a decimal item or decimal field. So now using this rules book defaults form, we can set default values for various fields or all the fields in our application tables. So let's see it for admin item requisition details table, and default value for this column priority, you can set it here. So currently it's normal, you can change it to low. or high as you wish and save it. So always the default value for the field priority will come to low. So this is how you can use the default constraint using this table. So now for applying mandatory constraints to various fields in various tables, you can use this form rulebooks mandatory. You can see the table and the column and the ordinal position. If you want to make a column as mandatory, just check it here, or to remove a mandatory constraint, just uncheck it and the constraint will be removed, and just save it. So this is how you can easily set mandatory constraint on any field in any of your tables. So if you want to give decimal scales for decimal fields in your tables, so select the table, select the field, or for example if you want to give decimal scale for admin items table and the field danger level to 3, just select it, double click here, change the values. So we shall make it 3 and save it. Now the decimal scale will be automatically changed to 3 for the field danger level.